Hi, welcome to Audiobook Academy. This is a self-paced audiobook. There's no need to keep an eye on things. Just pay attention. Thank you for taking the time to listen. This is an audiobook summary of The War of Art by Pressfield. Resistance is what prevents us from sitting down and completing our most difficult tasks. The majority of us have two lives, the life we live before we turn professional and the life we live after we turn professional. When we go against the grain, the resistance is furious. It is impossible to see, touch, hear, or smell resistance because it does not exist. However, it can be felt. When we experience it, we perceive it as an energy field radiating from a work in progress. It has a repulsive effect on people. It's a negative statement. Its goal is to push us away, distract us, and prevent us from carrying out our duties. If you believe resistance when it says you deserve everything you get, says the author. It is necessary for an emerging artist to be ruthless, not only toward herself but also toward others. The best and only thing that one artist can do for another is to serve as an example and an inspiration to them, says the author. You already have the ability to take charge, all you needed to do was believe in yourself. It isn't the writing part that is difficult. Sitting down to write is the most difficult part. Resistance is what prevents us from sitting down. Most of us live two lives at the same time. We have two lives, the one we are living and the one we are waiting to live. Resistance stands in the middle of the two. According to historians, it was much easier for Hitler to initiate World War II than it was for him to face a blank square of canvas. It is impossible to see, touch, hear, or smell resistance because it does not exist. However, it can be felt. When we experience it, we perceive it as an energy field radiating from a work in progress. It has a repulsive effect on people. It's a negative statement. Its goal is to push us away, distract us, and prevent us from carrying out our duties. If you believe resistance when it says you deserve everything you get, says the author. In his 70s, Henry Fonda was still throwing up before every stage performance, according to a source. In order to survive, both warriors and artists must adhere to the same code of necessity, which dictates that the battle must be fought anew every morning. When a crab jumps for the rim of the bucket, he is committing the highest form of treason known to man. It is necessary for an emerging artist to be ruthless, not only toward herself but also toward others. The best and only thing that one artist can do for another is to serve as an example and an inspiration to them, says the author. We don't just put our lives on hold today, we put them on hold until we are on our deathbed. Right now, we have the ability to make a difference in our lives. There has never been, and there never will be, a time when we do not have the ability to change the course of our lives. A working artist will not tolerate problems in her life because she understands that problems prevent her from doing her job properly. The working artist expels from her world any and all sources of discord and conflict. She is able to harness her desire for trouble and transform it into something useful in her work. When we are scared of a job or calling, we are more likely to feel compelled to carry out our responsibilities. Fear is experienced as resistance. The degree of fear experienced corresponds to the strength of resistance. As a result, the greater our fear of a specific enterprise, the more certain we can be that that enterprise is important to us and to the development of our soul. That is why we are experiencing so much resistance. The resistance would be non-existent if it meant nothing to us. You wouldn't feel anything if you didn't care about the project that is terrifying you. Hate is not the opposite of love, rather, it is indifference. According to the author, the more resistance you encounter, the more important your unmanifested art, project, or enterprise is to you, and the greater your sense of satisfaction will be when you finally complete it. Rationalization is resistance's right-hand man, explains the author. Its job is to keep us from feeling the shame we would feel if we were forced to face the fact that we are cowards for not carrying out our responsibilities. It's one thing to deceive ourselves. It's quite another to deceive others. One thing is to say it, but quite another is to believe it. Fear is the source of resistance. Resistance, on the other hand, is far too cunning to expose itself in this manner. Why? Because if resistance allows us to see clearly that our own fear is impeding our ability to do our work, we may experience feelings of guilt as a result. In addition, shame may motivate us to take action in the face of fear. This is something that the resistance does not want us to do. As a result, rationalization is introduced. All of the aspiring artists who have been defeated by resistance have one thing in common. They all think and behave as if they are amateurs. They have not yet decided to go pro. The moment when an artist decides to go pro is as momentous as the birth of his or her first child. Everything can be altered with a single stroke. I can categorically state that my life can be divided into two periods, before I turned professional, and after I turned professional. The amateur is out to have a good time. The professional is in it for the long haul. The game is his avocation in the eyes of the amateur. It is his vocation, according to the pro. In contrast to the professional, the amateur only plays part-time. The weekend warrior is what the amateur is. Every day of the week, the professional is available to you. When we go professional, the resistance is furious. Someone once inquired as to whether Somerset Maugham wrote on a set schedule or only when he was struck by inspiration. "I only write when I'm struck by inspiration," he responded. Because it strikes at 9 o'clock sharp every morning, it is a blessing. Whether the artist is aware of it or not, the artist who dedicates himself to his calling has volunteered for hell. He will be living on a diet of isolation, rejection, self-doubt, despair, ridicule, contempt, and humiliation for the rest of his life. What exactly are the characteristics that distinguish us from other people in our profession? We come to work every day. We are always there, no matter what. We work non-stop throughout the day. We intend to stick with it for the long haul. The stakes are extremely high and very real for us. We are willing to accept compensation for our efforts. We do not identify too strongly with our jobs. We have mastered the technical aspects of our jobs. We have a good sense of humor when it comes to our jobs. In the real world, we are either praised or criticized. The professional, despite the fact that he accepts payment, does his work out of passion. A professional takes action in the face of danger. The amateur believes that he must first overcome his fear before he can begin working on his project. Fear is something that can never be overcome, according to the professional. He understands that there is no such thing as a fearless warrior or an artist who is not filled with dread. Resistance is fertile and ingenious, and the professional understands this. It'll throw things at him that he's never seen or heard of before. A professional does not flaunt his or her abilities. A professional devotes his or her time and energy to mastering technique. A professional maintains a certain amount of distance from her instrument. When it comes to failure, or success, a professional does not take it personally. The professional takes pleasure in her work. She has put her whole heart and soul into it. But she never loses sight of the fact that she is not the one doing the work. Her artistic self consists of a large number of works as well as numerous performances. Her mind is already churning with ideas for the next. The next one will be even better, and the one after that will be even better. A professional is aware of her own limitations. A professional is someone who is respected by his or her peers. Constituting yourself as a corporation, or simply thinking of yourself as such, reinforces the idea of professionalism because it distinguishes between the artist doing the work and the will and consciousness running the show. Becoming a professional is not a mystery. It is a decision that is the result of a conscious decision. We make the decision to consider ourselves professionals and then we act on that decision. It's as simple as that. When we sit down day after day and continue to work, something strange begins to happen. A chain of events is set in motion, and heaven comes to our aid in an unavoidable and unstoppable manner. Unseen forces rally to our cause, and serendipity serves to strengthen our resolve. It was all in my hands. All I had to do was believe in myself and take charge. We are not born with an unlimited number of options. We can't be whoever or whatever we want to be. A hack, according to him, is a writer who constantly second-guesses his or her audience. When the hack sits down to work, he doesn't stop to consider what is going on in his own mind. He inquires as to what the market is seeking. Ask yourself this question about any activity you engage in: if I were the last person on the planet, would I still engage in it? Creative work is not a selfish act on the part of the actor, nor is it a ploy to gain attention. It's a gift to the world and to every living thing on it, really. Please do not defraud us of your contribution. Give us everything you've got. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Please don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in next audiobook.